All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people out there just like you and just like me. Happy Memorial Day out there. And of course, we need to remember those who pay the ultimate price for America's freedom. Not the way America is right now, per se, but maybe the way America used to be. Before I get going on this video, and I'm going to be talking about Eric Clapton. Here's some really great guitar music for you from Mike Zito and Albert Castillo. It's called Blood Brothers. Really good stuff. And I think Albert tends to play right down the road from me here where I live. Just super talented guys. And together on one album, Blood Brothers, if you like the blues rock sound, kind of like what we're talking about here with Eric Clapton, I think you'll like the Blood Brothers album. Also, if you're a fan of Eric Clapton, you want to hear some of the newer material by Eric, check out Modern Retro Radio, modernretrofm.com. Eric Clapton was #1 on this radio station for a very long time with This Has Gotta Stop, which probably one of the best Eric Clapton songs ever, musically as well as lyrically. Musically, it kind of goes right next to like Lay Down Sally. You know, it's kind of got that shuffle thing going that Eric likes to utilize. And of course, lyrically, it's a 10 out of 10 because it addresses the insanity that was happening. It was released back in August of 2021. And nobody here in the United States on terrestrial radio gave the tune a spin. Now, I want to talk about the Eric Clapton apology that never happened. I mean, I am just blown away. People want to know all the time, so why? Why did he talk to you? And I'm like, I don't know. But then I found out it's pretty simple because he said, look, nobody else would listen to me. That's it. And I said this in a video afterwards. I said, you know, the rock media should be ashamed of themselves. This is a legend, okay? He wasn't trying to hurt anybody by telling people about his experience, all right? But then we've got guilt by association. You know, I've got a few notes here as to all the things that were being said about Eric Clapton during this time frame. Clapton is reclusive. Overall, he's an oddball. He makes weird decisions, like when he left the Yardbirds. That was bizarre and weird, and he's inconsistent, quirky, and all these different things. Anyway, Clapton has a history of disliking certain groups of people, because I think he made one comment that was taken out of context. Clapton has since explained that or apologized for it, but of course, we're living in a new paradigm now, so it's fair game to go back into your past and dig up anything you've ever said and either twist it or misconstrue it or just take it at face value and say, see? And of course, there's no consideration about who that person is today. And this is just commonplace, and this is why social media is extremely toxic. Oh, by the way, did I tell you I'm back on Twitter? Oh, that's great. So far, it's okay, but we'll see what happens. We'll see. You know, I'm ready to block at will. I'm ready to block everybody that comes and says stuff. I'm not going to put up with it. You know, I learned a few years ago that it's just not worth it. It's not worth ruining my peace of mind. What else? Clapton rejected the science. Even after he went to CVS on 2 separate occasions, Eric Clapton rejected the science. He's a science denier. He's not willing to go along. There were people that were posting on some of his videos, his older videos. They were saying things like, man, I used to love Clapton, but I got rid of my Eric Clapton collection after I heard about what he's been doing. What? You mean like how he couldn't feel his hands and stuff? So I'm going to get rid of it in honor of Eric Clapton's suffering from something that obviously had a certain effect on him. And you can't say anything negative about it because it's perfectly safe and wonderful. And I don't know what your problem is, dude. So in honor of that, I'm gonna get rid of my Clapton collection. I never really liked him anyway. I was waiting for the Rolling Stone rankings to recalibrate and have him go down from, I think he's at number 2 behind Jimi Hendrix. I was waiting for him to slip down to like number 50, you know? Oh yeah, Eric Clapton used to be a great guitarist, but he stayed too long. That's the problem. He was supposed to have that dignified retirement. Yeah, and that's another thing they were saying. Here's a good one. Clapton was bankrolling the people who disagreed with this. Eric Clapton was bankrolling them. Now, let me say something about the creative writing skills here of certain people at certain publications. They are really creative at slander. I've never seen such creative slander in my life. Yeah, there's a group of people out here who disagree, and we need to spend money, and we need to go out and see somebody who isn't a lunatic. And Eric Clapton is that person. Thank you, Eric Clapton, for bankrolling us. Supposedly a lot more people did this than didn't do it. So wouldn't it make better financial sense to bankroll the people that went out to CVS multiple times? I'm just curious, just asking for a friend, right? This is insanity. He's bankrolling all of these people who are conspiracy theorist wackos. Okay, good for him then. Good for him. It's the free market. I don't know why that's called bankrolling, like he's got to roll a wad of cash. I mean, just the imagery alone. Great writing. Creative slander. Just remember that phrase. Creative slander. I've never, and you know who else does this? The Democratic Party. They do this all the time. They say California is a freedom state and Florida is the state that was open, but they're tyrannical because they didn't make people do certain things. Oh yeah, we ban books. That's the thing. We ban books. We take books away from kids who really need access to these books because they're so educational. Have you seen the creative drawings in the books? Oh, this was a good one. Clapton should retire. Nobody wants to hear his guitar any longer. He just stayed on the scene too long. He needs to have, I heard it, and I've said it this way, he needs to have a dignified retirement. I mean, what's taking him so long? He's 78. He should have been retired a number of years ago. Really? Because some of his most creative work has happened recently. This has got to stop. 2.8 million views with nobody talking about it because you can't talk about it. So it was me and you that went and found the song. You and I went and found the song and drove that up to $2.8 million. $2.8 million. You're bankrolling. He's 2.8 million views. Sorry. All right. So that's another complaint that he's been just too long. He's been here too long. Clapton was a hypocrite because at one venue they changed the rules and made people have their government surveillance QR code handy. Yeah, this story was out there for quite some time that, see, Clapton's a hypocrite. People need a QR code to go see him in, I think it was like Louisiana or something. And the venue itself changed their mind like halfway between when Clapton decided he was going to play there because they weren't going to make people have the QR code, which surveils them and also captures all of their personal health information. Aren't these just great things, people? Aren't you happy you participated in the great thing-demic of 2020 through 2023? Aren't you just really excited about that? I feel like I've been a part of history. But hey, these people, you know, these are the complaints they had. Clapton on his Facebook instantly just explained what happened. The venue changed their rules. We're still going to ask them to honor the initial agreement. And I think they did. And even if they didn't, that's not Eric Clapton's fault. He didn't want to play venues that required people to do this. Anyway, how is he going to bankroll people if they need a QR code, right? Because then he's bankrolling the wrong people. Just, You know, you could always go and get a fake QR code. Yeah, you could get the fake paperwork and bring it in. People were doing that stuff. And then the media going crazy. Are you nuts? You know, but if some kid gets a fake ID, well, you know, it's not a big deal. Junior, you know, he just wants to get into the bar. Okay. I think it's less of a big deal. You're putting others at risk. Why? Those other people went and did the thing. Why are they at risk? What? This was the greatest and most, I would say this was the most difficult thing to understand for me. If this worked so well, why do you care whether I did it or not? That's on you. I mean, if I'm bringing all of my germs and my floating particles and they're surrounding my head and they're circling, they look kind of like, you know, nuclear fission, and I walk fission, I don't know. I walk into the room and somebody says, well, I'm not afraid of you because I've gone to CVS multiple times. So you're the one that needs to be careful. Okay, it's on me then. I need to be careful and you're all set. So again, this was the whole, we got to save Granny. We have to do this to Billy, 6-year-old Billy, who's screaming in the waiting room because he doesn't want to get the thing. He gets it because he needs to protect Granny, who's, by the way, in a nursing home anyway. And they've already kind of sealed and roped the entire thing off. That's just no visitors for Granny. Yeah, that worked out well, huh? That was really good. That was a really good way for a lot of people to end their lives. Anyway, folks, the media, they haven't apologized and they won't apologize. I mean, that would require so much crow, and they would have to do it over and over again. And all of these people that came out of the woodwork, Gene Simmons, Sebastian Bach, Paul Stanley, do it for the greater good. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who said, screw your freedom. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. The Austrian version of screw your freedom. Maybe somebody should do a song with Arnold's voice and say it over and over again. There's got to be a parody somewhere. But yeah, the music that Eric Clapton has been making during this has been excellent, almost like he was re-inspired and he had something to prove. He really has nothing to prove. And it's just a great thing to watch as somebody who's still very viable, very creative, vocally still where he's been for many, many years at 78 years old, and playing guitar like nobody's business. I don't know if anyone caught the Jeff Beck tribute, but Clapton was incredible. Yeah. So he's just bankrolling people that miss Jeff Beck. That's what it was. I mean, he just bankrolls everybody. Like, Clapton needs the money too. Sorry, Eric, but I don't think Eric really cares. I think Eric has enough money. He doesn't, he's bankrolling because he's going broke because of his stance. So now he's bankrolling the people that don't agree with the corporate narrative. Okay, that makes so much sense. You know what makes sense, folks? Right here. Mike Zito, Albert Castiglia, Blood Brothers. Some more great guitar music for you. If you're a fan of Eric Clapton, I'm thinking you might want to check these guys out. They're really good. I'm sure they like Eric Clapton. They probably can't say it out loud. Maybe they want to. Maybe they don't want to. Doesn't matter. Also, don't forget to check me out over on Twitter. Yay. I'll put a link in the description. What else we got here? Patreon. Don't forget about Patreon. Look, folks, if it weren't for you patrons, I've lost half of the income, and the patrons have brought me back a little bit. That's all I can tell you. I can't get into too much detail. People have all these suggestions. I've kind of stabilized the bleeding a little bit, but then, I'll wake up tomorrow morning and it will drop and goes up a little bit and drops. It's like one step up and then 2 steps back. But if you want to support the channel via Patreon, if you want to do like $5 a month, $2 a month, a whole bunch of people have jumped on board to help me out. And I'm super grateful for that. Also, YouTube memberships. I guess you have your little picture on there if you do the YouTube membership, and then people can target you like they target me. And yeah, Twitter and Modern Retro Radio. modernretrofm.com. Check it out. Yeah, they play new stuff by Eric Clapton. Holy crap, Batman. All right, I think I've gotten everything out there. So have yourself a great Memorial Day. God bless you. God bless America. And more importantly, people, God save America. See you soon.